few years ago there was a somewhat heated debate argument about these things here, which are Kahtoola micro spikes. They're sort of very lightweight crampons. They're not actually crampons, but they do a similar job to crampons, but they're not as technically secure and robust. Some people were saying you could use these things on very lightweight shoes and you'd be okay in the hills, in the mountains. And other people were saying, well, no, you can't, and that's bad advice and flawed advice. You don't understand the subject, you're endangering people, that kind of thing. I saw the debate happening almost in regard to two different British UK magazines, hill walking magazines. One is called Trail and the other is called TGO, which stands for the Great Outdoors. Now TGO was saying it features letters, commentary, that kind of thing. Yeah, you can use these things and they are okay on lightweight shoes, but Trail were more conservative, shall we say, and disagreed. I think it's a question of fear, actually, in regard to that particular debate. If you're fearful of what you're going to find, or you don't know what you're going to find in terms of the technical difficulties of winter mountains, you will think, well, yes, you need big heavy boots and you need big, substantial, grippy, technically tough crampons. If you know that you're not going to do seriously technical stuff, ice climbs, that kind of thing, it's relatively easy terrain. It will be snowy and icy in parts. This is the kind of walking I do. Then these are very handy, and you don't actually need either massively heavy boots. These are high-tech boots. They're not the coolest boots, shall we say. They're not particularly prestigious brand, but for me they're brilliant. I only paid £25 for these in the sale. In fact, I bought 3 pairs, which have been lasting me for years. They suit me because they're leather, they're unlined. I don't like Gore-Tex boots because they're too sweaty, and once they are wet, they're almost impossible to dry out. And the smell from them, the ammonia smell, when they stay wet for hours on end overnight, is really quite offensive, very offensive indeed. It's not just sort of unpleasant, it's rank, the smell that they produce. These boots are brilliant for me, for my style of walking, for my preferences, and similarly with these Kahtoola crampons, they're also very good for me. I'll just show you what they're like. I recommend them in winter snowy conditions. If you haven't got these, you're not doing technical stuff. There will be times on icy paths, snowy slopes, that kind of thing, where these make a huge difference. They're marked front and M for medium because they come in different sizes. They're sort of stretchy rubber, so the size is not massively critical because they will stretch and adapt slightly. And they basically just go over your boots like this. It's a bit of a fuss, so perhaps I won't stay here doing this while I'm filming, but I'll just give you the general idea. And you've got these metal grips at the bottom which are very useful. If you're not doing seriously technical walking, winter walking, you can get by. I mean, I've done this before. I've sort of gone down literally on hands and knees and feet, crawling my way across large areas of ice which were impossible to cover, or you have to walk up the hillside and try and work your way around them without actually crossing the ice area, which I've done as well. You can get by. I'll just wait for this wind to subside. It's not too difficult to do that, but the thing is, it takes such a large amount of time. You can be messing about on a ice patch, which is just as slippery as an ice rink, probably more so actually, because an ice rink gets carved up. If you've got smooth solid ice, it's lethal. You just can't do anything with it. So you just have to work your way across it or around it in some fashion. And yes, you can get by, but it just takes such a long time. You can be trying to deal with a section like that for 20 minutes. So having a pair of these with you, Kahtoola micro spikes, they're not crampons, they're called spikes, is a very worthwhile addition to your kit. You can get them on the internet for about £40, but then you'll have to pay maybe a £5 to get them sent to you. That seems to be unavoidable when I checked out the prices on the internet available, so maybe you get lucky. The retail price I think is a bit more than that. I think it's about 55 or something, but these fixed retail prices, I think they're questionable as regards whether they should be fixed and whether they are actually workable prices. The standard price, as I say, seems to be about £40 or £45. Recommended.